नवयुवक शिक्षण प्रसारक मंडळ चापोली, संजीवनी महाविद्यालय चापोली, affiliated with Swami Ramanand Tirth, Marathwada University, Nanded. Good evening friends. Today is our second lecture and we are going to start with actual syllabus, from which we are going to discuss a photoelectric effect in today's lecture. Before starting this photoelectric effect, first of all we will discuss about the what is by photon, then we will go to towards the photoelectric effect. Photon, actually a photon is the smallest discrete amount or a quantum of electromagnetic radiation. It is basic unit of light. Photons are always in motion, in vacuum, in traveling, or it can travel with a constant speed, that is a speed of light 3 into 10 to the power of 8 meter per second. As per Einstein's quantum theory, photon have an energy equal to their oscillation frequency times the Planck's constant, that is E is equal to h nu, or we can write E is equal to h c by lambda also, because nu there is a one relation between the frequency and wavelength. Nu is equal to c by lambda, that's why we can write h c by lambda also. There are some properties of photons. They have zero mass and rest energy. They only exist as a moving particle. They are elementary particles. They have no electric charge and they are stable. They are spin one particle, which makes them a bosons, means they follow a Bose-Einstein statistics. When in empty space, they travel with a speed of light. Okay, this is all about these are the characteristic and properties of the photons. Now we are going to correlate this photon with a photoelectric effect. Okay, now basically what is the photoelectric effect? The phenomena of emission of electrons from a mainly metal surface exposed to a light of suitable frequency is called a photoelectric effect. When a suitable frequency of light incident on the surface of a metal, that incident photon can eject one electron. That ejected electron is called as photoelectron, and that ejected electron carries a current, and this total overall phenomena is called as photoelectric effect. Now just see in this figure, when a UV light incident on a metal surface, it ejects a photoelectron. When visible light incident on a metal surface, no photoelectron can be ejected. When visible light incident on an alkali metal, in that case photoelectron can be generated. Now we will discuss about the experimental part of photoelectric effect, how it works, and what are the basic principles of this photoelectric effect, that we will discuss. If we see in this figure, we are able to see a cathode denoted by C, a metal anode A, and quartz window W, from which a UV light can be entered and it can bombard, or it can incident on a cathode surface. Actually in this experimental setup, when a metal surface is exposed to a monochromatic electromagnetic wave of sufficient short wavelength, the incident radiations is absorbed and then exposed surface emits a electron. This phenomena is known as photoelectric effect. Electrons that are emitted in this process are called as photoelectrons. That electrons can move from cathode terminal to the anode terminal. The experimental setup to study this photoelectric effect as shown in this schematic diagram. The target material serves as the anode, which become the emitter of photoelectrons when it is illuminated by a monochromatic radiations. We call this electrode. The photoelectrons are collected at the cathode, which is kept at a lower potential with respect to the anode. The potential difference between the electrode can be increased or decreased, or its polarity can be reversed. The electrodes are enclosed in an evacuated glass tube so that photoelectrons do not lose their kinetic energy or collision with air molecules in the space between electrodes. That is why we are using a evacuated glass tube. When the target material is not exposed to the radiations, no current is registered in this circuit because the circuit is broken. But when the target material is connected to the negative terminal of a battery and exposed to the radiation, a current is registered in this circuit. This current is called photocurrent because this current arises due to the incident photon. That is why we call it as a photocurrent. Suppose that we now reverse the potential difference between the electrode so that the target material now connected with the positive terminal of a battery, and then we slowly increase the voltage. The photocurrent gradually dies out and eventually stops flowing completely at some value of this reverse voltage. The potential difference at which the photocurrent stops flowing is called stopping potential. When we are applying the potential which is equal to the stopping potential, in that case no current will be flow or no photoelectron can flow from cathode to anode. The anode and cathode are enclosed in an evacuated glass tube. The voltmeter measure the electric potential difference between the electrodes and the ammeter measure the photocurrent. The incident radiations is monochromatic as we see in this figure. Now, after this experimental study, we will discuss the relation, the effect of intensity of incident light on photoelectric current. It is found that photoelectric current is directly proportional to the number of photoelectron emitted per second. This implies that number of photoelectron emitted per second is directly proportional to the intensity of the incident radiation. Brighter light means more photon. If we see intensity along x-axis and current along y-axis, that graph shows a straight line graph. It means that obviously I and intensity both are directly proportional to each others. Now the next effect of potential on a photoelectric current. In this case, if we plot the graph between the potential along x-axis and current along y-axis for a fixed frequency and intensity of incident light, the photoelectric current increases with increase in positive potential applied to the anode. When all the photoelectrons reaches the plate A, current becomes maximum and is known as saturation current. It remains after particular potential, the current remains constant as we increase the potential difference across the cathode and anode terminal. That's why that current is called as saturation current. When the potential is decreases, the current decreases but does not become a zero at a zero potential. This shows that even in the absence of accelerating potential, a few photoelectrons manage to reach the plate on their own due to their kinetic energy. When negative potential is applied to the plate with respect to cathode, photoelectric current become a zero at a particular value of negative potential. That potential is called as stopping potential that we discussed earlier. Next, the effect of frequency of incident light on photoelectric current. For a fixed intensity of incident light, the photoelectric current does not depend on the frequency of the incident light because the photoelectric current simply depends on the number of photoelectrons emitted and in turn on the number of photons incident and not on the energy of photon. Effect of frequency of incident light on stopping potential. For a fixed intensity of incident light, the photoelectric current increases and is saturated with increase in positive potential applied to the anode. However, the saturation current is same for different frequencies of the incident light. When potential is decreases and taken below zero, photoelectric current decreases to zero but at different stopping potential for different frequencies, that shown in this graph. Now threshold frequency. The graph between stopping potential and frequency does not pass throughout the origin. It shows that there is minimum value of frequency is called threshold frequency, below which the photoelectric emission is not possible. However, high the intensity of incident light may be. It depends on the nature of the metal emission photoelectron. After particular potential, the voltage can be produced. Up to that frequency, potential difference cannot be produced. Now there are some laws of photoelectric emissions. That is not this part is not actually belongs to our syllabus, but we have to know what is the photoelectric emissions. For that, there are some laws. For a given substance, there is a minimum value of frequency of incident light called threshold frequency, below which no photoelectric emission is possible. However, the intensity is incident light may be. The number of photoelectrons emitted per second is directly proportional to the intensity of incident light, provided the frequency is above the threshold frequency. The maximum kinetic energy of the photoelectrons is directly proportional to the frequency, provided the frequency is above the threshold frequency. The maximum kinetic energy of the photoelectron is independent of the intensity of the incident light. The process of photoelectric emission is instantaneous, that is, as soon as the photon of suitable frequency falls on the substance, it emits photoelectrons. The photoelectric emission is 1 to 1, that is, for every photon of suitable frequency, one electron is emitted. Now, Einstein's photoelectric equation. When a photon of energy h nu falls on a metal surface, the energy of the photon is absorbed by the electron and is used in two ways. In first part, energy is used to overcome the surface barrier and come out the metal surface. This part is called as work function, that is phi, which is equal to h nu naught. And second, remaining part of the energy is used in giving a velocity to the emitted photoelectron. This equation is maximum kinetic energy of the photoelectron, that is 1/2 mv square max. M is the mass of photoelectron. According to law of conservation of energy, h nu is equal to phi plus 1/2 mv square max. Phi is nothing but the work function, which is equal to h nu naught. H nu naught plus 1/2 mv square max. Now, that kinetic energy can be find out with the help of h nu naught minus h nu minus h nu naught. If we take h common, it become a 1/2 mv square max is equal to h into nu minus nu naught. Means the incident photon with energy h nu can be utilized into two parts. First part for the work function, that is phi is equal to h nu naught, and second part to accelerate that electron can reach from a cathode to the anode with a maximum kinetic energy 1/2 mv square max. That's why h nu naught is equal to phi plus 1/2 mv square max. That velocity can be found out with the help of this conservation equation. 1/2 mv square max is equal to h nu minus nu naught. Now, verification of law of photoelectric emission based on Einstein's photoelectric equation. 1/2 mv square max is equal to h nu minus nu naught. If nu naught is greater than nu, then 1/2 mv square is negative, which is not possible. Therefore, photoelectric emission to take place if V is greater than V naught, then and then only this equation is valid. Since one photon emits one electron, so that number of electrons emitted per second is directly proportional to the intensity of incident light. It is clear that 1/2 mv square max is directly proportional to the V, as h and V naught are constant. This shows that kinetic energy of photoelectrons is directly proportional to the frequency of incident light. If more if incident photon with more frequency, then more velocity can be gained by that photoelectron. Photoelectric emission is due to the collision between a photon and an electron. As such, there can not be any significant time lag between the incident of photon and emission of photoelectron. That is, the process is instantaneous. It is found a delay between both processes 10 to the power of minus 8 second only. There are some applications of this photoelectric effect. We can use this photoelectric effect for the automatic fire alarm, automatic buzzer alarm, scanner in television transmission, reproduction of sound in cinema film, in paper industry to measure the thickness of paper, to locate flaws or holes in the finished goods in astronomy, to determine opacity of solids and liquids, automatic switching of street light, to control the temperature of furnace, photometry, and so on. There are so many applications in which we can use this photoelectric effect. Okay friends, if you have any doubt about this point, about this experimental setup or this mathematical part, you can ask any kind of questions related with this topic, or if you have any query, any doubt related with this topic, you can comment on this video and I will try to explain each question or about your query. Thank you.